So in Lalithasahasranamam, we have seen up until shloka number 110. 110, we haven't finished it. We have seen up until the nama Medha. Sarvaudhana Prita Chitta Yakinyamba Swarupini Swaha Swadha Amatihi Medha. Medha varaikum paathu. Medha is Shruti Dharana Shakti is called as Medha. Medha Shakti means the retaining power. Not only the retaining power, but applying what we have learned at the appropriate time. Because a CD, a pen drive, a hard disk also can retain all the information that it has come across. But they by themselves cannot give the information when it is needed. But a person who has got a Medha Shakti, he can retain all the information like a sponge, but unlike a CD or a pen drive, he can apply that information at the appropriate time. That is why the, when a brahmachari does samidadhanam, when a brahmachari does samidadhanam, they will say Medhavi bhuyasam, Tejasvi bhuyasam, Varchasvi bhuyasam, Brahmavarchasi bhuyasam, Ayushman bhuyasam, Annado bhuyasam, Swasti bhuyasam. Abdina Agniya Pratipa. For a brahmachari, Agni is the Deva. Agni is the Devata to be worshipped. And when he does Samhitadanam, the first thing that he wants, the first thing, the Raksha Eduthundu, Medhavi Bhuyasam. Abdina, எனக்கு மேதைய குடு, மேதா சக்திய குடு அப்படின்னா they will request that Agni Bhagavan, because brahmachari ashrama is a learning pradhana ashrama. The brahmachari ashrama, it is dedicated, it should be dedicated for learning, right? So for them, Medha Shakti is very, very important. So that is why they take Medha Shakti as, they pray for Medha Shakti as the first thing. And it is Ambal who gives Medha Shakti. So Medha and Shruti, Smriti, Anuttama. Shruti means Vedas and Artham. Shravanam means that which is heard. Shravanam means that which is heard. Shruti, because Vedas in earlier days, they were never written down. That is why if we ask archaeologists, they will never find a written text of Vedas anywhere, because there is an explicit limitation against writing down the Vedas. Shastra says Vedas should never be written down. Vedas should never be read from a book. Now we are reading from a book because our Medha Shakti is coming down. That is why we are reading from a book. But even now, if we go to traditional Patashalas, they will never learn Vedas from a book. When I started learning Vedas, when I had a book, my guru will scold me. Why are you having a book? It should not be learned from a book. You should close the book, and then that is how you should learn. That is how I learned as well. Some of my earlier Vedic education, I learned it without a book. That is why even now I can chant them without seeing a book. So Shruti nu peru vandadhu edukku, that which is heard அப்படிங்கிறதுனால தான் Shruti அப்படின்னு பேர் வந்தது. That is why even in a Carnatic concert, if you see in a Carnatic concert, they will have something called as Shruti. They will have a Shruti box, or they will have a tambura. Whether the singer is singing or not, whether the veena player is playing or not, whether the violin is being played or not, there is one instrument which will be throughout the Carnatic music concert, and that instrument is the Shruti box or the tambura. Why? Because all the listeners, all the players in that Carnatic music, they have to align themselves with respect to the Shruti. ஒவ்வொருத்தர் ஒரு ஸ்ருதியில பாடினா காதுக்கு நன்னாவே இருக்காது. So all the music players, they have to align themselves to the Shruti. The players can move up and down, but the Shruti will never change its scale. And they will all hear. The Shruti will always be heard throughout the music. That is why it is called as Shrutis. Nama Vedamu appadithaan. Vedam, because it is heard and orally transmitted, it is called as Shruti. That is one meaning. The second meaning that we can derive is that just like in a Carnatic concert, all the players of the Carnatic concert align themselves with the Shruti. If only they align themselves with the Shruti, the Carnatic concert will be very pleasant to hear. In the same way, all of us should also align our thoughts with respect to Vedas. All of us should also align our lifestyle in regarding to the Vedas. That is why Vedata Shruti nu sollalam. Eppadi or Carnatic music la Shruti box க்கு ஏத்த மாதிரி பாடகர்கள்லாம் மாத்தி பாடும். எவ்வளோ பெரிய பாடகர்களா இருந்தாலும் they may be Sangeeta Kalanidhi, they may have got President Award for music. Berkeley music கூட வாசிக்கலாம். It does not matter. But they have to align themselves with that small Shruti box. In the same way, whoever the person may be, we have to align ourselves to the tunes of the real Shruti, that is the real Vedas. Only then our life will be pleasant. We have to derive that lesson from that. And Ambal is Swayam Shruti herself. Ambal is Vedas. There is nothing other than Ambal. There is nothing other than Swami that is present in the Vedas. There is no secular idea in the Vedas. Whatever the ideas that we have, it is only Bhagavat Swarupam. I say this because these days, people think, okay, I can be spiritual, but I need not be religious. They mean religious means they mean ritualistic. I will do meditation of Ambal. I will be spiritual in my life, but I don't have to follow all the rituals. It is a common misconception here. But what we forget is that it is the same Ambal who we worship. It is that same Ambal who has given Vedas as well. If we are going to a Prabhu's house, if we are going to, assume that you are a master, you have a lot of servants. There are two people. One servant will always think about you. One servant, he will speak all the pleasing words in front of you, but he will never listen to you. The other servant, he listens to your words. He just does his duty. He listens to your words. Who do we like better? Which servant we like better? We will like the servant, not the Jalra servant, but we will like that servant who actually takes action on our words. It is that servant we will like the most, right? In the same way, Ambal is like Shri Maharagni, Srimad Simhasaneshwari. Ambal is that queen. We can either sing praises of Ambal or we can actually do what Ambal says. Andudha, doing what Ambal says. Vedas are the very words of Ambal. Shastras are the very words of Ambal. So we should always try to follow Shastra if we want to make her happy. Shrutihi and Smritihi. Shruti is Vedas because they are always heard. Smritihi, all the Purana, Itihasas, Dharma Shastra, all these are Smriti because that which is remembered. Smaranam means to remember, right? Shruti, that which is heard. Smriti, that which is remembered. So Smriti is a technical name for Itihasa, Purana, and Dharma Shastra, etc. Ambal is in the form of Shruti. Ambal is in the form of Smriti. Shabdatmika Suvimalargya Jusham Nidhanam Udgitaramya Padapatavatancha Samna Devitrayi Bhagavati Bhava Bhavanaya Vartasi Sarva Jagatam Paramartiham Tri Shabdatmika Shabdam Nale Shruti Smriti Nartam. This says Devi Mahatmyam. So Ambal is in the form of Shruti and Smriti. Previously we have seen Shruti and Smriti have to be taken as a manual for our living. Just like how a manufacturer, in order to make the maximum out of that product, he will have a product manual, right? How to use the product, how not to use the product. So that is what a product manual says. In the same way, Ambal has given us this entire creation, has given us the entire universe, has given us the entire Srishti. And if we want to make use of the Srishti in a proper way, then we have to follow the manual, which is Shruti and Smriti. Annannindyat tatvratam annam bahukurvita tadvratam annam nanindya annanna parichakshita tadvratam. Do not waste annam, do not curse the food that we eat. Annam bahukurvita, you have to make a lot of food and distribute the food to others. All these are from the Shrutis. Nanishtivet na nivasanasnayat napsumutra purisham kuryat. Do not pollute waters. And the secular, do not pollute waters. Namakku common sense theriyarudhu. Vedas will tell from that, do not pollute waters. Please feed the poor people. Adilirundu, it gives us instructions from that very, very small thing to how to get to moksha. All the things that are present in Shruti and Smriti. And we have access to the Shruti and Smriti. And it is up to us to follow the Shruti and Smriti to get benefited from. Yadevi sarvabhuteshu smriti rupena samstita namastasyai 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 namo namaha, says Devi Mahatmyam. Moving on to the next nama, Shruti Smriti Ranuttama. That is Shruti Smriti Ranuttama. When we are chanting, we will tell that, but it has to be Anuttama. Shrutihi Smritihi Anuttama. Anuttama. Uttama. Uttama means superior. Anuttama. Ambal is that one who is superior to all the other things, who does not have any other superior for her own. Ambal is superior for all the other entities, but Ambal does not have any superior. Superior in terms of money, superior in terms of guna, superior in terms of anything. In terms of her vibhuti, there is no superior entity for Ambal. Uttama, superior. Anuttama, that one who does not have any other superior than her. Okay, can you tell me a nice Tamil word for Anuttama? Nammalvar solrar Thiruvaimozhi, first part la first line, it says Anuttama. Uyarvara uyarnalam udayavan yavanavan. Uyarvara uyarnalam udayavan. அப்படிங்கிறார். உயர்வு அற Anuttama. Uyarnalam, that being who is Swayam superior, who does not have any superior of her own to her, who does not have any other superior to her, is Ambal Anuttama. So Anuttamaku Tamil enna uyarvara uyarnalam udayaval அப்படின்னு நம்ம மாத்திக்கலாம். So Anuttama. And then Punya Kirtihi Punya Labhya Punya Shravana Kirtana. Punya Kirtihi Punya Labhya Punya Shravana Kirtana. Punya Kirtihi. Kirtihi, Ambal's Vibhuti. Ambal's Mahima is called as Kirtihi. Punya Kirtihi, Ambal's Vibhuti, Mahima. When we do meditation on that Kirti, we will get a lot of Punya. When we just meditate, when we hear Ambal's Mahima, when we chant Ambal's Mahima, it is going to give us a lot of Punya. What is Ambal's Mahima? Devi Mahatmyam, Saundarya Lahari, Lalithasahasranamam, Kanakadhara Stotram, Annapurna Stotram. All these stotrams, they give Ambal's Kirti. They actually tell Ambal's Mahima to all of us. Just by chanting those stotras, we will get a lot of punya. What is the use of punya? Acharya says in the next nama, punya labhya, labh dhatu, to obtain. Punya labhya, Ambal can be obtained with punyas. So first thing, how to get punya? you have to sing Ambal's Kirti, you have to meditate upon Ambal's Vibhuti, and when we get to Punya, you can easily reach Ambal. Ambal can easily be obtained. Labhya, sulabham, easily obtained. Sulabham, easily obtained. Durlabham, which can never be obtained, which is very hard to obtain. Durlabham. Ambal is Punyalabham, which can be obtained through Punyas. And how to get Punyas? How to get Punyas, it is being flanked. Punya Kirtihi, you will get, when you chant Ambal's Kirti, you will get a Punya. Next Nama also tells how to get Punya. Punya Shravana Kirtana. Ambals, just by listening to Ambal's Kirtis, just by listening to Ambal's Mahima, and by doing Kirtana, by Nama Sankirtana, by chanting Ambal's Kirtana, by singing Ambal's praises, you will get a lot of Punya. What is the phalam of that Punya? You can get Swayam Ambal herself. எவ்வளவோ ஸ்லோகங்கள் இருக்கு. மகாபெரிவாலும் தெய்வத்தின் குரல்ல உத்தமமான ஸ்தோத்திரங்கள் 3 அப்படின்னு மகாபெரிவா says in தெய்வத்தின் குரல். There are these 3 stotras for Ambal, which is very, 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 very nice. உத்தமமான ஸ்தோத்திரம் 3ன்னு சொல்றார். First one is Arya Dushati, which is which has been written by Durvasa Maharshi. Durvasa Maharshi wrote Arya Dushati. Second is Saundarya Lahari, which is contributed by Adi Shankaracharya himself. The third is Muka Panchashati, which is written by Muka Shankaracharya, one of the Acharyas in the Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham. Periyavas specifically says, in fact, he mentions a lot of other shlokas in Devathin Kural, but he specifically says these 3 shlokas as Uttamamana Stutihal 3. These 3 stutis are very, 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 very Uttama, are very, 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 very auspicious for Ambal. Let us all chant these shlokas. If we know, we can chant. If not, Swayam Lalithasahasranamam itself is enough, or just Shri Matre Namaha itself is enough. That is going to give us a lot of punya, which is going to result in Chitta Shuddhi and Moksha. Punya Shravana Kirtana. Next line. Pulomajarchita Bandha Mochani Barbharalaka. Pulomajarchita. Pulomaja Archita. Pulomaja means Indrani. Indrani is called as Pulomaja. Pulomaja Archita. Indrani has worshipped Amba. When there is this person called as Nahusha. So this Nahusha, at one point of time, he occupied the Devendra Sabha. He occupied the Devaloka or Swargaloka. And he was not fulfilled by occupying Swargaloka, but he also wanted Indrani. So Indrani then praised Ambal. Indrani worshipped Ambal, and Ambal blessed Indrani, so that Nahusha was dethroned, and Indra, he again obtained the Devendra Padavi. He obtained the throne of Devaloka. So Pulomajarchita, Ambal is worshipped by Indrani. Indrani is called as Pulomaja. So Pulomajarchita. Bandha Mochini. Bandha, anything that binds you is called as bandha. Normally, a lower meaning of bandha mochini is, if somebody has gone to a jail, jail is called as karagriha. If somebody has gone to a jail, worshipping Ambal will relieve themselves from the jail sentence. Abdina nama sollipom bandha mochini. What is bandha? He has been confined. That person has been confined to one place, and mochani, Ambal has released that person. In fact, that is also true, because there is a shloka called as Durga Chandra Kala Stuti, written by Appaya Dikshita. Appaya Dikshita has written a shloka called as Durga Chandra Kala Stuti. Even in that stuti, he says, Bandhe Vade Mahati Mrityu Bhaye Prasakte Vittakshaye Cha Vividhe Cha Mahopatape Yat Pada Pujanamiha Pratikara Mahuhu Same Samasta Janani Sharanam Bhavani. Ambal, if we remember Ambal, if we do puja for Ambal, if we worship Ambal during when? Bandhe, when you are in a jail. Means what? When you are entangled in a situation. Vade, if you are in a yuddha bhumi. Mahati mrityu bhaye prasakte. If you have a mrityu bhayam, vittakshaye, if you are losing a lot of money, vividhecha mahopatape, if you have any problem, mahopatape, if you have any problem, what should we do? Yatpada pujanamiha pratikaramahu same samasta janani sharanam bhavani. That Ambal, Bhavani, she will release us of all the papas, says Appaya Dikshita in Durga Chandrakala Stuti. In fact, he also tells another story. In the same Durga Chandrakala Stuti, he says, Banasura Prahita Pannaka Bandha Mokshaha Tadbahu Darpadalanat Ushayacha Yogaha Pradyumnina Dhritam Alabhyata Yat Prasadat Same Shiva Sakalam Abhyashubhankshinotu, says Appaya Dikshita in Durga Chandrakala Stuti. What does he say? Banasura Prahita Pannaka Bandha Mokshaha. There is an asura called as Banasura. And that Banasura, he at one point of time captured Bhagavan's Krishna's grandson. Krishna's son is Pratyubna. Krishna's grandson is Aniruddha. Banasura, he captured Krishna's grandson, and that Aniruddha is Krishna's grandson. That Aniruddha then worshipped Ambal, and then with Ambal's blessing, he was relieved of that bandha, that jail that has been created by Banasura. அப்படிங்க அப்பைய தீட்சிதர் துர்கா சந்திர கலாஸ்துதியில சொல்றார். But all these bandhas are local bandhas. Which is the main bandha? Samsaram. This samsaram is the bandha. This Maya is the greatest bandha that we can ever get, into. And if we worship Ambal, she is going to give us moksha. What is moksha? Much, to release. Moksha, Ambal is capable of giving. So all these local bandhas, small bandhas, Amba will relieve you of. And the great bandha, Samsara bandha, Samsara Sagaratilandum, Ambal will relieve oneself. So bandha mochani and Barbara alaka or Bandhura alaka. Barbara alaka is what we normally chant. So what is Barbara alaka? Alaka means hair. Alaka means hair. Barbara means, small round hair Ambal has got in her forehead. Ambal's hair is so beautiful, nice and curly, and some parts of Ambal hair comes in the front as a small springs. So அப்படி முன்னாடி இங்க இப்படி சுருட்டையா அம்பாளுடைய கேசம் இருக்கான். அந்த மாதிரி அழகிய கேசத்தை உடையவளே பர்பராலகா அப்படின்னு சொல்றார். In Saundarya Lahari, Acharya beautifully describes Ambal's Barbaralaka. Ambal's face is being imagined as a tamarai pushpam, as a lotus flower. And when you have a nice smelling lotus flower, all the honeybees will come. They will come and sit on the lotus flower, right? In the same way, Ambal's face is as beautiful, as nicely fragrant as a lotus flower, and all the honeybee, they come, they sit on Ambal's face in the form of her hair, Barbaralaka. And the chinna surul moodi ellam paakarathukku அப்படியே honeybee மாதிரி இருக்கான், தேனி மாதிரி இருக்கான். அந்த மாதிரி Acharya nicely explains Ambal's Barbaralaka in his Saundarya Lahari. So that much beautiful alaka Ambal has got, a Barbaralaka. Next shloka, Vimarsha Rupini Vidya Vyadadi Jagat Prasuhu. Vimarsha Rupini Vidya Vyadadi Jagat Prasuhu. Sarva Vyadhi Prashamani, Sarva Mrityu Nivarini. Vimarsha Rupini. So this concept of Vimarsha Rupini is very, 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 very technical in Srividyopasana. In Srividya Tantra, they speak about two words, Prakasha Rupa and Vimarsha Rupa. Prakasha is Parameshwara. Ambal is Vimarsha. A chalanam is what Amba. You know, in the first shloka of Saundarya Lahari, Acharya says, Shivashaktya yuktaha yadi bhavati shaktah prabhavitum nachedevam devaha nakhalu kushalaha spanditumapi atastvam aradhyam harihara virinchadipirabi pranantum stotum va katam akrita punya prabhavati, says Acharya in Saundarya Lahari. What does he say? Without Ambal, Parameshwara cannot even cause a spandanam. Spandanam means a small vibration in a small blade of grass. Only with help of Ambal, even a small blade of grass can be moved by Parameshwara, says Acharya. இது என்ன ஏதோ ஒரு ஸ்தோத்திரம் மாதிரி இருக்கே, ஏதோ ஒரு அர்த்தவாதம் மாதிரி இருக்கே. Maybe Acharya is praising Ambal just for the sake of praising நமக்கு தோணும். அத மகாபெரிவாளும் தெய்வத்தின் குரல் எடுத்து காமிக்கிறா. But the real meaning for that shloka is Parameshwara is Parabrahma Swarupam. Parabrahma Swarupam will not move. Because if you want to move from one place to another place, then there is a person, then there should be space to move. Only if there is a space, then this person can move from this place to another place. Parameshwara Suddha Brahma Swarupam Shuddha Chaitanyam, which is incapable of moving, because all the space exists within Parameshwara. Then how can Parameshwara move from one place to another place? That is completely impossible. Then how does the Srishti start? It is because of the chalanam in the Parameshwara. It is because of a vibration in the Parameshwara, and that chalanam is Ambal. Parameshwara is Prakasa Shakti. Ambal is Vimarsha Shakti. Vimarshana, chalan. There are a lot of meaning. There is a lot of philosophical significance for this name. இதை வச்சுட்டு ரொம்ப சண்டைகள்லாம் போட்டிருக்கா ஸ்ரீவித்யோபாசகாலாம், அந்த அளவுக்கு சர்ச்சைகள்லாம் வந்திருக்கிற நாமா இது. But we don't have to go into that detail. Just to understand this as a chalanam in Parameshwara, which has urged Parameshwara to create, which has enabled Parameshwara to create this entire Jagat. அதனாலதான் ஊத்துக்காடு வெங்கட சுப்பையர் கிருஷ்ணனை பார்த்து பாடுறார். ஆடாது அசங்காது வா கிருஷ்ணா, உன் ஆடலில் ஈரேழு புவனமும் அசைந்து அசைந்தாடுதே அப்படின்னு பாடுறார். There Krishna is being thought of as Shuddha Brahma Tattvam. Shuddha Brahmam ஆடாமல் அசங்காமல் இருக்கும். But when there is a chalanam in that Shuddha Brahmam, un adalilna in a chalanam, dance. When Shuddha Brahmam dances, when there is a chalanam in the Shuddha Brahma Tattvam, un adalil ஈரேழு புவனமும் அசைந்து அசைந்தாடுதே. ஈரேழு புவனமும் அங்கிருந்து தான் வருது. The dance of Krishna, the chalanam in the Shuddha Brahma Tattvam, a chalanam in Parameshwara has created the entire universe. அப்படிங்கறத சொல்றார். Ambal is that chalanam. Ambal is that chalanam. Next nama Vimarsharupini Vidya. Vidya Yadevi Sarvabhuteshu Vidyarupena Samstita Namastasyai 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 Namo Namaha. Vidya means knowledge. You know, that knowledge which is needed to get out of samsara is called as Vidya. You know, previously we saw later Amatihi அப்படிங்கிற நாமத்துல we பார்த்தோம். Even Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda, the first part of these Vedas called as Karmakanda, they are called as Apara Vidya. They are called as a lower Vidya. Only that part of Vidya, the Upanishad part of Vidya, which gains you moksha, which makes you realize your own self, is called as Paravidya. Ambal is that Paravidya. There is a famous Upanishad shloka. The Sishya asks the Guru, Kasmin Bhagavo Vijnate Sarvamidam Vijnatam Bhavatiti. I think the Sishya asks the Guru, Kasmin Bhagavo Vijnate Sarvamidam Vijnatam Bhavatiti. Hey Guru, knowing what I will know the entire thing that is present in this universe. Is that even possible? Is there any one thing? By knowing one thing, you have the knowledge of all the other things, all the things that are present in this universe. Shastra says, yes, if you know Brahman, because Brahman is the material cause for the universe, you will know about the entire things that are present in this universe. If you know about a gold, then you will know everything about the golden ornaments. What is the melting point of the gold? The same melting point of all the golden ornaments is going to be the same thing. What is the color of the gold? All the golden ornaments will have the same color. What are the physical properties of the gold? The same, the physical properties of all the ornaments will be the same. So if you know the material cost for anything, then you will know all about the products, right? In the same way, if you know about Brahman, which is the Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam for this Jagat, which is the undivided material and the intellectual cause for this whole Jagat, we will know about all the other things. And that knowledge is Ambal, Vidya, Chaitanya Swarupa Shaktihi, Sayeva Vidya, Gaudapadacharya. Gaudapadacharya is Adi Shankara's guru's guru. Adi Shankara's guru is Govinda Bhagavad Pada. His guru is Gaudapadacharya. So Gaudapadacharya has written a sutra called as Sri Vidya Ratna Sutram. Sri Vidya Ratna Sutram. Just like how we have Brahma Sutra, just like how we have Yoga Sutra, there is a sutra form. Sri Gaudapadacharya has written all the aspects of Sri Vidyopasana. And there he says, Sarva Chaitanya Swarupa Shaktihi. Ambal is Sarva Chaitanya Swarupa. Ambal is the combined consciousness. She is the Shaktihi. Sayeva Vidya. She is the knowledge as well. Sarva Chaitanya Swarupa Shaktihi Sayeva Vidya. So Vidyayai Namaha. Next nama Vyadadi Jagat Prasuhu. Prasuhu means creator. Adilana Prasavam peru. What is meant by Prasavam? Prasavam means giving birth to a baby. It's called as Prasavam, right? So Prasu means creator. Prasuhu. Prasuti abdina Shastrathila, Vedathila varum. Jagata Prasuti abdina Upanishadthila varum. So Prasu, Prasuti, Prasavam, they all have the same root word, to create, to bring, to bring forth, to create something, to cause something to be born. Prasuhu. What does Ambal cause things to born? Vyadadi Jagat Prasuhu. Jagat Prasuhu, universe. Jagat means universe. Jagat Prasuhu, the creatrix of universe. The creator of the universe is Jagat Prasuhu. And here there is a Viseshanam. Vyadadi Jagat Prasuhu. She has created universe from Vyad. Vyad means Akasha. She has created universe from Akasha. How to understand this? There is a Shruti Vakyam in Taittiriya Upanishad. It says, Tasmat Atmana Akasha Sambhutaha Akashad Vayuhu Vayoragnihi Agnerapaha Adhyah Prithvi Prithivya Oshadayaha Oshadibhyonnam Atmana Akashaha Sambhuta. The Atma Tattvam, the Shuddha Chaitanya Tattvam, the Brahma Tattvam, along with Maya, has created Akasha first. Akasha means space. It has created space, and from space came air, air Tattva, Vayuhu, Akashad Vayuhu, Vayoragnihi. From where? From air, from Vayu Tattva. Agni came. Agni means fire, because fire won't be there without any air, right? So fire, air has to predate the fire. Akashad Vayuhu Vayoragnihi Agnerapaha. From fire came water. Agnerapaha. Apaha means water. Adhyah Prithvi. From water came this Prithvi Tattva, the earth. Prithivya Oshadhayaha. From Prithvi came all the Oshadhis. Oshadhi means all the herbs, all the plants. Oshadhi, Bhyo, Annam. So that has become food. Abdina. Taittiriya Upanishad it talks about a series of creation in a certain order. And here, Atmana Akasha Sambhutaha. If we ask Vayu, what is the cause for Vayu? The immediate cause for Vayu is Akasha, because Akashat Vayu, and then Vayor Agnihi. So, if we say Vyadadi Jagat Prasuhu, Ambal is the creator of universe from Vyad, from Akasha, then Ambal has to be even more subtler than Akasha. And according to Upanishad, Akasha came directly from Brahma Tattvam. So Ambal is Parabrahma Swarupini. Ambal has created everything right from Akasha Tattva to the universe that is present here, that we transact with every day. Abdingarada we can understand Vyadadi Jagat Prasuhu. Next two nama, very relevant nama for these days. Sarva Vyadhi Prashamani, Sarva Mrityu Nivarani. Vyadhi Prashamani, Shamani, Shamanam Pandrathu, balances out, destroys. Sarva Vyadhi Prashamani, she destroys all the Vyadhi. Adhi Vyadhi. அப்படின்னு ரெண்டு வார்த்தை சொல்லுவா. Adhi means any psychological problems, that is called as Adhi. Vyadhi means any bodily problem, any physiological and physical ailment is called as a Vyadhi. Any mental ailment, psychological ailment is called as Adhi. Ambal Sarva Vyadhi Prashamani. Ambal destroys all the Vyadhis. There are many shlokas. There are many shlokas that are supposed to be very important for getting rid of Vyadhi. One such shloka is called as Indrakshi Stotram. Indrakshi Stotram garadu romba nalladu. It has got a lot of Bijakshara. It has to be learnt from a proper guru and chanted. But if we chant, it is believed to get rid of all the Vyadhis. Sarva Vyadhi Prashamanam, Sarva Mrityu Nivaranam. Pakshajvara, Masajvara, Shanmasajvara, Samvatsarajvara, Alapajvara, Sarvajvara Nivarani. Abdina Ambaluk and the Ella Jvarangalum. Jvara that is present for 1 hour. Jvara that is present for 1 day. Jvara that is present for 15 days. Jvara that is present for 1 month, Jvara that is present for 6 months, Jvara that is present for 1 year, Jvara that is constantly present throughout my life. Please get rid of all those Jvaras. Abdini Indrakshi Stotram solva. So the Indrakshi Stotram sonna the Jvarangalna relieve ahum abdinu Shastrathula irukku. Even our Periyava has also said, when this corona started, he has advised some of his intimate devotees to chant Indrakshi Stotram every day for their family and for Lokakshema as well. So Sarva Vyadhi Prashamani, she gets rid of all the Vyadhi, and Sarva Mrityu Nivarani, she prevents all the Mrityu. Okay, how to understand that? If everybody lives forever, then there should be a lot of population. Then this whole world will not have any space. But here Ambal is called as Sarva Mrityu Nivarani. How do we understand that? How can a Mrityu be postponed forever? Mrityu can never be postponed forever. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu dhruvam janma mritasya cha, says Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Whatever the thing that has come to this world, it has to die one day. Whatever the thing that has died, it has to come to birth. Again, this karma theory, it has to be born, at another time. Then here Ambal is said as Sarva Mrityu Nivarani. How to understand that? We can understand it in such way. When will you have a death? We will have a death only if we are born. For a person who is not born, there is no death, right? If we worship Ambal, Ambal will not give us any birth. Nacha punaravartate, says Shruti, says Vedas. A person who has got moksha, he will never be born in this universe. He is out of samsara chakra. He will never be born. Only when he is born, he will die, right? Triambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam urvarugam iva bandhanat mrityoho mukshiyamamritat, says Mrityunjaya mantra. If we see the meaning of that Mrityunjaya mantra, there is nowhere it prays for no death. It only says, hey, I have to leave this universe in the prayer. But that means that I have to be relieved of this samsara chakra. I don't want any birth. If I don't have any birth, then I won't have any death as well. அப்படிங்கிறத புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். ஞாத்வாது ஏவம் மிருத்யுமுகாத் pramuchyate, says Vedas. One, the Brahma Tattvam, for a Brahma Jnani, Jnatvad Evam, for a Brahma Jnani, Mrityumukat Pramuchyate. If a person has understood the Brahma Tattva, if the person has understood the Atma Tattva, then there is no death for him. Meaning what? He will not even be born, so there is no death, says Vedas. Even in the Palashruti of Lalithasahasranamam, which we are going to see, Palashruti, normally at the end of any stotra, they will say, okay, what are the benefits you will have when you chant the stotra? They will say it is called as Palashruti. The Palashruti Lalithasahasranamathile varudhu Sarvaroga Prashamanam, Sarvasampat Pravartanam, Sarva Mrityu Shamanam, Kala Mrityu Nivarakam, Sarva Jvarati Shamanam, Dirghayushya Pradayakam. All these things are benefits of chanting Shri Lalithasahasranama Stotra. Hence Ambal is Sarva Vyadhi Prashamani, Sarva Mrityu Nivarani. The next nama, next shloka, Agrakanya, Achintya Rupa, Kalikalmashanashini, Katyayini, Kalahantri, Kamalaksha Nishevita. Agraganya. Whenever somebody wants to count, Gananam. Kanikaradu, Ganitam means mathematics, right? Okay, if somebody wanted to count what are all the things that are present in this universe, the first thing that is to be counted is Sambad. Because Atma Tattvam, only from that one, all these things have seemed to arise. So if somebody wants to count the number of things in this universe, Ambal no oru count panna podum, everything else will be contained within that Ambad. Agra means first. Agra means first. Agraganya, the one who is counted first of everything. Agraganya. The Agra Puja inu pannuva. In fact, in Mahabharata, in Mahabharata and Bhagavata, this has been described. Dharmaraja, Yudhishthira, he made a big Ashwamedha Yajna. Yudhishthira did a huge Ashwamedha Yajna, and after the Ashwamedha Yajna, he has to do Agra Puja. He has to do a Pada Puja for the first time after finishing the Ashwamedha Yajna. And that is very, very prestigious. Yarukku modalla puja pandrar அப்படிங்கிறது very, very prestigious. And he has chosen Krishna Bhagavan to do the Agra Puja. அப்பதான் வந்து அந்த சிசுபால வதம் எல்லாம் நடக்கும். Only in that time the whole Shishupala Vada episode and all will happen. So Agraganya means the one who is counted first. Agraganya. In fact, I will tell you a small story. It is not a story, a small trivia. In Sanskritam, each finger has got a name. In Sanskritam, each finger, there is, we say, okay, this is small finger, this is ring finger, this is middle finger, this is index finger, this is thumb. அப்படின்னு நம்ம இங்கிலீஷ்ல பேர் வச்சிருக்கோம் இல்லையா? அந்த மாதிரி சம்ஸ்கிருதத்துல each finger has got a name. This finger, the ring finger's name is called as Anamika. The finger which does not have any name. Anamika அப்படின்னா the finger which does not have any name. அப்படிங்கிறதே நேமா வச்சிருக்கா. The name of the finger itself is that finger which does not have any name. Okay, why should a finger be named like that? Okay, this is called as Kanishtika. This is called as Madhyama. This is called as Tarjani. This is called as Angushta. All these things we can understand. But why should this finger called as Anamika without any name? So there is a Kavi who said, okay, why is this finger called as Anamika? So it's a trivia. It is not directly related to Sahasranama, but this is something we can know. So at that time, people wanted to count who are the greatest poets in Samskrita literature. Who's and who of Samskrita literature. I mean, who's and who's of idin solralo. They wanted to find out the who's and who's of Sanskrit literature. And everybody started counting, because in India we will start count from this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 na count pannuvom, yeah. So they all counted Kalidasa. Okay, Kalidasa is number 1. Next name they could not come up with, and that is why they keep the name of this finger itself, the finger which does not have any name, because this finger is Kalidasa. Kalidasa is counted as number 1, but number 2 there is nothing else. So this finger is called as Anamika, the finger which does not have any name. Even though this is a this is a fun trivia, fun fact, there is a huge lesson to be learned in this, from this, because people wanted to count, okay, this universe has got a lot of different things, and our mind will always classify, right? Even according to Shastra, we will classify things. Even according to science, we will classify, okay, prokaryotes, eukaryotes, and then in prokaryotes, there is bacteria, algae, there is bacteria, protozoa. In eukaryotes, there is algae, fungi, and mammals. We always count, we always like to classify things in order to understand much better. So somebody started classifying this entire universe. For an Advaiti, everything is Brahman. He can count the entire thing as only one. That is why it is called as Advaitam. Dvaitam means two. Advaitam without the second. So everything is only one. If the person wanted to count the second thing, there is nothing second in this universe. That is why this finger is called as Anamika. You know, the Kavyatkaha, they said this Anamika, it refers to Kalidasa. You know, when they wanted to count the poets, first is Kalidasa, second we don't know. That is why this finger is called as Anamika. But then the question comes, what about before Kalidasa? Kalidasa was born at a certain time. So before Kalidasa, this finger should have got a name, right? What is the name? Adu Anamika da. Yena, from the early on, from this Jagat Srishti itself, people have been counting what are the different things that are present in this universe. They can only see one thing, which is Paramatma Swarupa. Agra Ganya. Agra means first, Ganya means counted. Only Paramatma Swarupa, Ambal is counted as the first thing. Second thing, they still cannot find anything. That is why this finger from the beginning up until now remains Anamika without any name. It's a beautiful story to understand. Anamika, Agraganya, Achintya Rupa. Chintya means meditatable, that which comes under the realm of mind. Chintya. Chintya Rupa, Achintya Rupa. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. Brahmavastu can never be spoken of. Brahmavastu can never be meditated upon. Aprapya manasa saha. Even mind cannot grasp the Brahma Tattvam. Why? Because Brahma Tattvam is the very thinker. Ambal is the very thinker. Ambal is the very the person who does meditation, so she can never be meditated upon. Achintya Rupa, which does not come under the realm of the mind. Achintya Rupa, Kali, Kalmasha, Nashini. Kali, Kalmasha, Kalau, Kalmasha Chittanam. In Kali, everybody will have lot of alk. Kalmasham means alk. Lot of papa in their mind. Kalau kalmasha chittana. And Ambal, she removes all the dosham that is present in this Kali Yuga. The Kali Purusha is supposed to be present in many things. Kali Purusha is present in alcohol. Engengella alcohol nariya irukko, angengella Kali Purushan irukkan. Appadina Srimad Bhagavatam solradhu. Kali Purusha is present in those places where there is gambling going on. Soodattathula Kalipurushan irukkan solradhu. Wherever there is money, wherever there is gold, there is Kalipurusha. Whenever a woman is being mistreated, there is Kalipurusha. There is Kalipurusha as present. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is 4 or 5 places where Kalipurusha is present. There is a list. And Ambal, she removes all the papams. She removes all the doshams that are associated with Kalipurusha. Just because you are in Kali Yuga, it does not mean that we have to be immoral. Because a general rule, a general description of Kali Yuga is that people will be immoral. That is the general rule of Kali Yuga. And what normally people think, okay, since that is the general rule, then why should I follow Vedas? Why should I do any karmas? Why should I do any Sandhya Vandanam? Or why should I chant Lalithasahasranamam? Because this is Kali Yuga. Everybody is supposed to be like that. But it is not so. Just because everybody is immoral does not mean that we have to be as well. Because we all are, or what? We all are Ambal's devotees. We all are Ambal's sons. See, Shri Mata, we all are her sons and daughters. So she removes Kali's papams, at least from us. You are in Kali Yuga, just like how they say, now in the, because of COVID, they have something called as air bubble. People cannot transport from one place to another place. But if you take proper measure, you can fly from US to India. They call it as an air bubble. In the same way, Ambal creates her own bubble. Ambal creates her own bubble. Outside the bubble, the entire Kali Yuga is present. Kali Yuga kola halam irukapurudhu. But inside that circle, the Kali Yuga, Kali Purusha will never even dare to touch all of us, because Ambal is Kali Kalmasha Nashini. ICU Madri. Outside ICU, there is going to be a lot of germs. But inside the ICU, there is going to be pure. It is going to be completely clean. It is going to be completely pure. Just like how they have ICUs, here we have SPUs, spiritual, SCUs, spiritual care units. So Ambal has got made up of, Ambal made lot of spiritual care units. Ambal care units are ACU, inside which no other germ can enter. No other Kalipurusha can enter. So Kali Kalmasha Nashini. Next line. Katyayani Kalahantri Kamala Aksha Nishevita. Katyayani Katyayanaya Vidmahe Kanya Kumari Dhimahi Tanno Durgif Prachodayat. Ambal is called as Katyayani because at one point of time as a Leela, she was born to a Maharishi called as Katar. The Katarangara Maharishi ki porandadunala Katyayani abdinu peru. Katyayanaya Vidmahe Kanya Kumari Dhimahi Tanno Durgif Prachodayat. Vedathiliye vara Gayatri mantram adu Katyayani. Kalahantri. Kala means time or mrityu. Kalahantri. Mrityu mrityor namamyaham abdinu Narasimha Swami shlokathla vara madri. Ambal is the one who destroys even time. How can time have an end? No, modern science does not, at least did not accept the starting of the time and the end of the time. Modern science believed time is always present. Space is always present. In fact, that was a huge problem with Newtonian mechanics. Newtonian mechanics will never predict, time. According to Newtonian mechanics, time can go backwards. So all these things were present in Newtonian mechanics because for them time is something which is taken, which is taken for granted. It is given. It is there. There is no beginning for time. There is no end for time. If we accept any beginning for time, then we will have to answer the question: what happened before the time? Before the time began, what happened? So for something to happen, there should be time. If we accept an end for time, then we have to answer the question, okay, what will happen after the time ended? So when we say after the time ended, how can something will happen? Because time itself is not there. So 100 years ago, at least up until 100 years ago, scientists does not even accept the beginning and ending of time. But now even scientists accept, okay, time has got a beginning. Big Bang. Time came, time started from Big Bang. You don't ask me what happened before Big Bang because time was irrelevant. Okay, after Big Crunch, the universe will destroy. After the universe will destroy, time will also cease to exist. Big Crunch, all these things, they are already being told in our Shastras. Kala Hantri, Ambal, she destroys the factor of time. Even means what? Even after time is gone, Ambal will be present. Kala Hantri, Kamala Aksha Nishevita. Kamala Aksha. Aksha means eyes. Kamala Aksha, and the person whose eyes is as beautiful as a lotus flower. Kamalaksha means Mahavishnu. Kamalaksha Nishevita. Mahavishnu has worshipped Ambal. Even this shloka, this Lalithasahasranamam, is told to Agastya by who? By none other than Hayagriva. Hayagriva is Mahavishnu. Hayagriva has worshipped Ambal. Hayagriva has done Devi Upasana. Hayagriva has done Srividya Upasana, and he has obtained lots of benefits. In fact, later there is a nama going to come, Mohini nama where we will see even a lot of other stories how Mahavishnu has worshipped Ambal. We will see while discussing that nama Mohini. But Kamala Aksha Nishevita means that Ambal who is being worshipped by Mahavishnu himself. With this, we will finish today's class. Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thanks a lot. Next class. Bye bye.
Thank you.